How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Sam. So yesterday we talked about Gleyber Torres, and if you watched yesterday's game, you saw why. He struck out with the bases juice in the first inning. Just make contact, man. All we need is to get at least one run across the board. And then DJ LeMahieu, a walk and a strikeout over 4 at-bats. I really just don't know what to say anymore. The infield is a liability. Brian Cashman's going to have to be aggressive at the deadline. This is not a doomsday episode. It's more so just a critical episode of where we need to improve, what the situation is. We're going to talk about DJ LeMahieu, his struggles, what Aaron Boone said yesterday about him. But right now, it's kind of from our perspective, I don't know if we're going to get this above-average DJ LeMahieu who's going to be a World Series contributor. I don't know if we're going to get the player that we saw 2 years ago when he was a key contributor. Gleyber Torres in a really bad year right now. I mean, it's getting to the point where he's not hustling on ground balls. That's a really big red flag to me. Like, mentally, he's cooked. He's not confident. He's not motivated. He's not, competitive with these at-bats. Now you've gotten to a point where a player is not running hard. I mean, maybe he's not running hard because that right groin is hurting him. He doesn't want to push it. Who knows? I'm not going to speak on his behalf. But if he is being bothered by a right groin injury, why is he playing? Because he's more of a liability than anything else to this team. The defensive contributions are bad. I mean, I know Aaron Boone's like, they're better than, what meets the eye, but just look at the numbers. He's a bad defensive player this season. All around, he's been horrible, and it sucks to say because I like Gleyber Torres. Good teammate. When he's on, he's a great player. But this year, we're showing why the Yankees should not re-sign him to an extension because he is volatile. We don't know what version of Gleyber we're going to get any given season, and it sucks. I wish he was perennially an all-star. I wish he was a really great asset for us long-term. We could justify giving him this big money deal, but we simply can't. You could call up a bevy of prospects and probably get similar value. You go and acquire an average player and get much better value than you're getting from him right now. So if you're the Yankees, what do? Well, you can't really do anything. You can't trade him right now. You can't replace him right now. But Sam, maybe you feel differently. How are you feeling about Torres? This, I guess not even start, but we're almost halfway through the season. It's been bad. Can he turn things around? What do you need to see? And, what are your kind of emotions about him right now?
All right, so I do want to address a couple things. It's great to be back on the Fireside Yankees podcast. I know it has been a while. I do want to shout out to the team. Fireside Yankees just hit 50,000 followers on Instagram today. Thank you guys for all the support. We appreciate it more than you guys know. Shout out to all the guys. We've been busting our ass for this. And this is not a doomsday episode because when I look at the landscape of the American League right now, okay, the Yankees are in the gutter. It's been a bad week of baseball. It's been horrendous to watch. But I will tell you, I don't know if you know, Alex, the Orioles have lost 5 straight games. So here's the thing, man, is this American League landscape looks bad. The Yankees are really bad right now, but I'm not hitting that automatic panic button right now because there are still other teams that are struggling. However, when we get to Gleyber Torres and we get to DJ LeMahieu, let's talk about these two guys, man. It's been really tough to watch. With Gleyber Torres, coming off of last year, he was one of the better contributors on this team, probably the second best bat outside of Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge missed those 60 games last year, right? 125 WRC plus was good defensively, was perfectly okay. Coming into this year, you're looking at a contractor. He wants that big money deal. We have a couple guys coming off the books. It's like, okay, Gleyber, this is your time. You can go make your money coming off of a great year with 2 years left, right? So this is his expiring year, comes out completely flat. The best way that I can describe Gleyber Torres is the kid on your Little League team that's sitting at the end of the bench and sulking. Because realistically right now, Alex, there's no hustle, there's no heart. This is a player that's beaten to the ground. You heard the guys last night on Yes talking about, this game will beat you down. It will drive you into the mud. And that's what it looks like with Gleyber Torres right now. He's sulking. He's not hustling. He cannot play defense. That play last night late in the game just kind of screwed it. And the Yankees probably could have won that game if he would have made that play at the end. So this is a player that his confidence looks completely shot, and it's awful to see just because we know what Gleyber can be at his peak right now. And I'm not going to completely hit the panic button on Gleyber Torres because, again, we've seen what he can be over the past couple of seasons. And he's been a consistent bat in the lineup for a while. But I want to see the best out of him. But right now, mentally, he just looks drained right now. And I feel like at this point, maybe give him a couple days. Maybe do what you did with Rizzo a couple weeks ago. Sit him down for a couple of games. Maybe let him get his mental right. Bring him back in the lineup. See what happens. I don't think if you put Jahmai Jones or anybody else in that spot in the lineup right now that you're going to get any worse than what you've gotten from Gleyber Torres. So why don't you give him a couple of days off? Just let him get his head right, get okay. We've seen what he can be at his peak. I think that he will, even out eventually, and he can still make his money if he has a great rest of the year. So that's just one piece that you're really missing out of this team right now. Now with DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu is a player that I think many Yankee fans have kind of held on to from that, 2019, 2020, that version of DJ LeMahieu. We saw a really good second half from him last year. He was incredible during the back half of the year last year. This year, not even close. This is a player that has not even recorded an extra base hit during this calendar year. That's gross baseball. It's bad baseball. And granted, this is a guy that's, hitting lower down your order in the 7, 8, 9 hole. But when you're clogging these corner infield spots and you have Ben Rice sitting on the bench, just like spots that you can fill with younger guys in different pieces right now, DJ LeMahieu's kind of clogging up that space with that $10 million because they're not going to sit him down. He's making a ton of money, Alex. And right now, I don't see what they do with DJ LeMahieu. He's not giving you plus offensive production. He's still a good glove, but he's not giving you plus offensive production. And for a team that cannot hit right now, he just looks like an absolute net negative. And I'm kind of losing faith, or even have lost faith in the entirety of what DJ LeMahieu is going to bring to this team this year. It's just really ugly baseball from the two of these guys right now, and I'm not necessarily sure where to go from here.
I mean, yeah, where do you go from here? And look, the Yankees, if you look at yesterday's game against the Mets, the Yankees didn't lose because of their lack of offense. It lost because Garrett Cole had a really bad performance. And look, second performance back, it was expected he was going to have some, road bumps to get over. And I think this was all anticipated. But the Yankees scored 7 runs. Why did they score 7 runs? Because Aaron Judge did a grand slam in the 8th inning. The problem is they're leaving an astronomical amount of men on base. And that's where I kind of sit here and say to myself, you need better in clutch moments, right? Like Gleyber Torres right now is a .205 expected batting average with a .334 expected slugging, the 5th percentile in expected BA and 9th percentile in expected slugging. His expected weighted on base average is .282. The guy is basically a ghost up there. If he didn't swing, he'd have a better average. Like, that's how bad he's been. 88th percentile in chase rate somehow, but his hard hit metrics are career lows across the board. 23rd percentile hard hit rate at 34.9%, 37th percentile in barrel percentage. His launch angle sweet spot is dropping astronomically. He's at his 50th percentile there. Whiff rate, 42nd percentile. His numbers with runners in scoring position, guys, 228, 294 OBP, 474 slugging, which is better than his actual number, and a 768 OPS. Look, you might as well change his name to Casper right now. It's really bad. Like, you're facing a situation where you have a player that is capable of performing better, but simply isn't. And why, you ask yourself? Well, I spoke about this with Aiden yesterday, or the other day, Sam, and I figured out that his launch angle is the highest it's ever been. He's producing more infield fly balls than he ever has. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's elevating the ball in the worst way possible. I think he needs to flatten his swing out. I think he needs to drive the ball and make more contact. He's trying to hit the ball with loft. And I think the primary reason is teams are throwing him more breaking pitches. He's actually playing really well against fastballs, which is kind of like an indication to me that teams are just not giving him fastballs to hit. He's hitting 270 against fastballs, 165 on breaking pitches, and 140 on off-speed pitches. They know how to beat him. He's a fastball hitter now. He can't hit breaking pitches. He can't hit off-speed balls. Like, it's problematic, and that's why he's getting so much loft, because those balls are coming in at an angle, and he's trying to get underneath of them, and he's popping them up. So I think that right now, he's got to level out his bat. He's got to level out his swing. I think that might be at least a portion of the problems he's having in that regard. But not to mention, his confidence is cooked, man. Look at his face out there. He lets us know he's hanging his head. He's visibly upset. He's not hustling. He's completely destroyed in terms of his mental state. If you have a player that's that level, not only do I think a sports therapist would help him, but I think that do you actually have to consider trading Gleyber Torres? But the question is, who the hell wants him right now? I don't even think you can trade Gleyber Torres. Is there a team that's going to want him? Maybe if they want to extend him, but extending him after this season, I mean, look, this is one of those years where, look, you look at what Juan Soto's doing. Guy's putting up a great performance, and he's going to get paid because of it. You look at some of these guys, Gleyber is on the opposite end of the spectrum here when it comes to leveraging a contract year into a long-term deal. He had his great season last season. He kind of wasted that year. This year is going to force him to take a 1-year deal possibly, because his contract extension, you can throw it out the window, man. He's not getting anywhere near where he was going to get He could have got $20+ million per season. Now he's looking at $14 million per season. He's looking at less than he got this year in arbitration. So, if you're Gleyber Torres, do you just take a 1-year deal with a team and try to leverage that into a long-term extension? He might be willing to do that because, what is he, only 26 years old, 27 right now? And transitioning over to DJ LeMahieu, I mean, God, as Ryan said on Twitter the other day, worms are scared for their lives right now. There's an epidemic for worms, man. Bugs in the grass. God damn. It's sad. He has a 62% ground ball rate, the highest in his career. I mean, the grass, they don't even need to mow the freaking infield anymore. He's creating perfect lines. It's horrible, man. He's perfect freaking lines. If this was soccer, they wouldn't need VR for these goal line technology. It would be horrible. It's really tough to watch DJ LeMahieu hit because not only is he not hitting, he's not elevating the ball. He has no extra base hits this year. And Aaron Boone's comments about him indicates that they're giving him as much time as humanly possible to get right. And I'll read you the quote, and Sam, you can respond at your own right here. He says, something he's still working through, trying to get there. And this is what he said yesterday on Tuesday. I felt like he came into spring training in such a good spot. Feel like physically he was in a really good spot. I felt like more and more explosive, and then boom, unfortunately, he fouls the ball off his foot, and that knocks him back. So he's playing catch up. It's just something we got to be patient with and hope that he continues to work through and eventually clicks for him. He gets rolling and becomes a presence we know he can be. Unfortunately, I don't think that he's going to become the presence that we know he can be because his slugging metrics and underlying metrics are horrible. He's not looking like the player that he once was. His power metrics, dude, are just mind-blowingly bad. He has a 43.6% hard hit rate, which isn't horrible, 7.3% barrel rate, but 89.3 average exit velocity, which is tied, well, I guess is right in line with career lows across the board. Max exit velocity, 107.7, career low. Right now, his numbers just scream regression across the board. And I think that he's just getting older. And I think that injuries have caught up to him. He can't run the same. Those extra base hits are going to be really hard to get. He's not hitting home runs anymore. It's just not happening for him. He's hitting ground balls, choppers. He can't beat out these throws if you're hitting grounders, The athletic profile is diminished. So when you're looking at DJ LeMahieu, do you see a path back for him? I think that long-term, he's a backup utility man. He is what Oswaldo Cabrera is supposed to be. All right, rather, he is the role that Oswaldo Cabrera is playing right now. We need actual starters. I don't see him as a starter anymore. I see him as a key backup.
Yeah, the path back for DJ LeMahieu should be playing like Trent Grisham does, realistically. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's just kind of how it is, and that's just kind of what that level of performance that you're getting from DJ LeMahieu is right now. To respond to that quote, I have three things that I kind of want to rattle off your brain here. You could take that quote that Aaron Boone said about DJ LeMahieu, and you could play Russian roulette. Which year was it from? 2021? Was it from 2022? Was it from 2023? Or 2024? That quote can be said every single year about DJ LeMahieu because there's always some lingering toe injury. There's always some lingering foot injury. There's always something with DJ LeMahieu that we just cannot seem to let go of this guy, and he just cannot perform at a consistent rate. I think he's cooked. Personally, I think the guy's done. He will still be on this roster, and again, he plays for my favorite team. I'm not going to sit here and root against him. But right now, when I look at this profile of player and everything that you just rattled off, that just looks like a baseball player that cannot produce anymore, and that is just kind of cooked. To be completely honest with you, he's DJ LeCooked at this point. So DJ LeMahieu, I'm kind of done with him. I'm kind of done praying that he's going to be great and done thinking that eventually he's going to turn it around and be a good baseball player. It's just really hard for me right now to envision a world where DJ LeMahieu is a plus offensive bat in this lineup because he hasn't been for a majority of years, right? I think that's really tough, man. As far as Gleyber Torres, I do want to kind of harp back to the bat path thing. When I watch classic Gleyber Torres hoops, what I'm seeing is pulled fly balls for home runs. I'm seeing opposite field home runs, and I'm seeing opposite field line drives into that, right center field gap where he, used to squeeze out those doubles, maybe triples at points in time. Right now, you're seeing these infield pop-ups, and it's just not working out, man. That is classic Gleyber Torres hoops is getting those type of hits, but it's just not happening right now. That launch angle is off the charts. I don't know if it's increased because he's trying to hit more home runs. It's because he's in that contract year, and he wants to boost up these numbers a little bit, but it's not working out. Flatten that bat path back out. Get it right. Just focus on line drives. Focus on these base hits. Look at what Anthony Volpe did this year. He's been incredible this year, flattening out that bat path. Gleyber, maybe you should do the same thing. And the last thing that I kind of want to get after is something that we saw last night. So let's go back to the first inning of last night's game, right? Infield leads off the game with a single. You got a Juan Soto walk. Then you get an Aaron Judge walk. You have the bases loaded with no outs, top of the first inning. This is the first time Gleyber Torres is going to hit cleanup in this lineup all year, right? You see a strikeout. Then you see Doogie strike out. Then you got J.D. Davis up, strikes out. That expected run differential with the bases loaded and no outs in the first inning was 2.9, Alex. They scored 0 runs and struck out 3 times in a row. That's how gross this lineup is, and to be completely honest with you, that's kind of been the story of the Yankees offense this year, is because we've talked about and harped on it so much how those top 3 guys have been awesome. Volpe's been awesome, Soto's been awesome, Judge has been awesome, but after you get past that, it kind of gets nasty, and especially with missing Giancarlo Stanton right now in that 4 to 5 hole, who's actually been a really good producer for this team this year, and that's tough, man. And walking away out of the first inning with the bases juiced, no outs, is kind of the antithesis of why this Yankees lineup is so bad right now. Because if you can't score in those spots, you're not going to win baseball games, and they haven't won baseball games in a week, and that's just kind of the bottom line with this team right now, is that those top 3 guys are great. Outside of that, everybody else is kind of bad. So it's just really tough to watch right now because nobody can hit, and they just don't really care about scoring runs. It's just really tough to watch right now.
I know it's look, I find that sometimes even when the Yankees do score runs, the pitching is bad. Like, we're having this seesaw effect right now. It's not like a complete performance where good pitching, good offense. It's good pitching, bad offense, or bad offense and good pitching. We're having that kind of sequence. Like you said earlier, we're getting very, very fortunate that the Orioles are struggling right now. I mean, they're playing well. They're just losing games. The Astros and Cleveland have done us a massive favor in helping to kind of quell them in the AL East here. But look, the Yankees are trying to survive until the deadline. That's kind of the best way to put it right now. They're on survival mode until they get reinforcements. You know, at some point they get Clark back. At some point they get Ian Hamilton back and Cody Poteet. And, you know, hopefully you get some other guys back to the equation and you add some people at the deadline. But right now, if you're a Yankee fan, you're wondering, you know, what's next? You know, who's going down next? Can we survive this? And the truth is, we can. And I'll tell you this right now. Every team goes through issues like this. The problem is the Yankees were exposed at not just one, but like 4 different positions and key positions. Third base, second base, bullpen. So, you know, you're looking at where do you prioritize allocations of resources to upgrade those spots. Well, here's the truth. You need Gleyber Torres to pan out because you cannot replace him. No one's going to trade for him or give up assets for Gleyber Torres. You know, he's in an expiring contract. He is having a horrible year. Nobody wants to give him an extension, most likely, until they see more or a potential turnaround. What are you going to get for him? You need him to play better, not trade him away, because he has no value anymore. The Yankees, you know, tried to trade him in the past, didn't work out, is what it is. First base. Rizzo obviously has hit a wall. After the concussions last year, it is evident that he is no longer the player he once was. I want to see more Ben Rice. Ben Rice could be a solution. Third base, DJ LeMahieu, no longer the player he once was. He is a backup utility man. That is what his role should be. That is what it always should have been. They need a third baseman. Problem is, there's not really any third baseman available. Unless the Rockies trade Ryan McMahon, and he's going to cost an arm and a leg. And I don't want Ryan McMahon. He's having a career best season. Acquiring players having their best seasons in 8 years is not a recipe for success. He's been a sub 100 WRC plus for 7 straight years or something of that nature. He's having one good season, and you know the Yankees are going to get him, and he's going to regress to the mean. You don't want to pay for a guy who's going to regress to the mean because historically that is what he does. He gets worse. So I don't think that that's the right solution here. Third base, you may just have to survive, but upgrade somewhere defensively. You know, just even creating competition at second base. I'm okay going and getting a quality second baseman. You floated the idea of Alex Bregman. I don't think the Houston Astros think they're out of this yet, to be honest. I think the Houston Astros think, we're going to turn this boat around, man. Like, we're getting some guys back. We're getting healthier. They're winning games right now at a pretty nice pace. They're going to get back into the mix here because the Yankees are regressing. The Orioles are losing. You know, this is a situation where the Yankees got to be careful because if they don't make the right upgrades at the right time, they could be left for dead. And the Orioles are going to turn things around. They've got the talent to do it. It's just a matter of time before, you know, they pick it back up and start winning games again. So and they're pretty healthy. They're just getting unlucky in some of these performances. So I do think the Yankees have to be quick. They have to be active, and they need some guys to step up, and they need their pitching to step up. The starting pitching was really, really good. It was almost too good. It was never going to be sustainable. Now we're seeing the result of regression. And look, I'd rather it happen now, a month before the deadline, than it happened in September. So there is still time to remedy this issue. There's still time to get reinforcements. There's still time to correct some of these problems. But they need to be very, very strategic with how they do it. They need to bring in the right fits, the right pieces, but most of all, the guys that are struggling on the roster have to get better. They can't keep getting worse. And that's what's happening with Gleyber and DJ. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. They're not hustling. They're chopping worms up. It's really unfortunate. So, we're hoping that they get better over the next couple of weeks here, over the next course of this month leading up to the deadline. And this All-Star break will be imperative to get some, much needed rest, a little bit of time off, reset the mind, come back hopefully fully ready to go for the second half push towards the postseason. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts below on this kind of infield dynamic, where you think need to be addressed, positions of weakness. Always happy to hear your thoughts. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.